Alcohol night training.
Parties.
I was about to say, I want an alcohol river float. That sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. No. That sounds good. Man, I like your beer. Good. Is it a beer?
We'll call the meeting to order, please, if you'd stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Play ball. Okay. Alex, can you do roll call for us, please?
Sure. Ryan?
Here.
Libby?
Here.
Vanessa?
Here.
Fritz?
Here.
Tanya?
Here. We do have a quorum. Looking for a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting agenda for tonight.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And a motion to approve the minutes from July 15th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for July 15th, 2024.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. New business, we have, I believe we have Steve on Zoom there from INDOT to give an update for the project.
Good evening, Tanya. Can you hear me okay?
Barely.
Let me turn it up just a little bit. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So we'd had two inquiries on the State Road 67 project email. One was from the Blossom Trace town president asking about the tree stumps in front of his sign. And I explained back to Mr. Fox that those will be removed when we get into the final grading on the actual sidewalk as we go down Fortville Pike, as we go down through there. They also asked questions about the status of it. And at the time I explained to him that we had some utilities in the way and now those all have been resolved. So once they're done doing what they're doing down below, they're going to start grading down there. So we're all set there. That traffic signal is going to go live on the 7th. They got the lights up. The stop bars will be painted. We'll be good to go down there. I did have one other inquiry the other day from a young lady in town. She asked the question if we were going to make Main Street to Broadway a priority. She said it would benefit the small businesses on Main Street to have this intersection finished ASAP. And I responded back to her, said right now the main priority is to get 36 and all north side done at the same time on the completion. It's kind of hard to open up just one street at a time, the way the paving is going to flow. And Grant will explain a little bit more how that goes inside, but I wish I could open them one at a time, but it won't work that way. That Main Street, the big part of it is you have the signals that have to go in there. The sidewalk has to go in there. And the other signal foundations have to be put in there also. So they're working feverishly on that side right now to try to get all that in place. So the updates, I can give you what they have completed to date is the water line installation is complete and done. The storm pipe and structure installation is done and complete. And then they started today the under drain, and they will be completed with that tomorrow. And then Grant will give you an update on where he stands on schedule wise as far as the paving goes.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
Grant, are you there?
Oh, there I am. Good evening, everyone. So like Steve said, we're working on the under drain right now. We're working with Bun Enterprises, and we hope to have that completed tomorrow. We are finishing bringing up the rest of our subgrade, and we plan to fine grade the subgrade for the remainder of the week. And then as we go into next week, we're going to begin paving the first 2 lifts of asphalt. We have to do 1 3-inch lift and then another 3-inch lift. And then the curb will be placed on top of that asphalt. And then following the curb being placed, we'll switch over to working on the concrete. All the drive approaches as well as the sidewalk all on the north side of the road will be completed. Then we will move to another lift of asphalt after that. So that's kind of our look ahead for about the next month or so.
Thank you, Grant.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anybody have any questions about what they said that I can answer for you? No? Okay. Alrighty. Next up, we have Brightspeed for consideration of an aerial work necessary for fiber build out project. Not sure who we have here. You'll have to ask Adam. Adam's the tech guy tonight.
Do you have a copy of our waiver request?
Mhm.
Yes, okay. Would you rather I just go to paper? It's perfectly fine.
Hold on one. Okay, we're all good.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to the members of the town council. My name is Michelle Brzezicki. I am here representing Brightspeed. We are your local telephone company. We are the 5th largest in the country, and you may have previously heard of CenturyLink or Lumens. About 2 years ago, Brightspeed purchased all the infrastructure in this area from CenturyLink, and we like to say that it wasn't a purchase of the company. It wasn't just a name change. We are definitely a complete new company, complete new culture, and we are from your community. We have numerous employees in Indiana. We just hired a new local technician in the area, servicing Fortville and the surrounding areas. If you go a little further into the presentation, you can see that we are both nationwide. We have 20 states where we have a presence, and we are expanding our copper network to fiber in all 20 states. It's over $2 billion. We will have over 3 million premises by the end of the project. Okay, go ahead. Here in Indiana, we have over 50,000 customers. We know that there is some hard feelings with the CenturyLink product. We have been dealing with that head on. I hope that your town manager can speak to the fact that we are responsive, issues are being addressed promptly, and we're taking care of things as we are notified of them. We are trying to bring fiber in, a new fiber bill to this area. Fortville is a wire center. It is our central office that we need to come out of. So if you could go. This will allow your residents to have better access to telemeds, to school, to work, just an overall better experience. We also know that we're not the first in this area to bring fiber. That said, competition is always good. We have great rates. We're constantly working on our product, making sure that the offerings are competitive. so that your residents are not just limited to one option. So in the end, this will be our build. And I have one of my coworkers on the line, if Evan is available, to speak more about the build and to answer questions. Besides Evan, we have our teammate here from Direct Line, who is our contractor, Matt Curtis, to answer any questions that you may have. And Evan, if you're available.
I am. Yeah, thanks, Michelle. And thank you all for working us into your agenda. I believe you have the waiver that I drafted as well, that letter really that kind of summarizes our build and, you know, what we're hoping to accomplish here. As Michelle mentioned, you know, this is essentially, you know, we're trying to upgrade our copper to fiber. And then also, you know, put a better step forward than our predecessors may have with the existing copper plant. So really, you know, on the slide, you can see our build area. I realize that this includes, you know, parts that are outside of your jurisdiction, but that pink square in the middle of Fortville, that's where our central office is, and that is where the network feeds from. So the surrounding areas certainly depend on, you know, the build out of that central office. Really, our goal is to build as much aerial as possible in these 20 states. It just seems to be a faster, you know, build from our perspective as the incumbent carrier. We have a lot of copper on the poles. We can overlash directly to them. You know, it also reduces the amount of digging that we might have to do, that, you know, the disruption to residents, to cities, city right of way, that kind of thing. And quite frankly, it is cheaper for us too. So it allows us to bring in more residents. You know, that's why the build is as large as it is. You know, when Michelle says premises, what we're saying there is homes primarily. There are some businesses that we, you know, brought in at the front end, but the nice thing about fiber compared to copper is that the future expansion is just, it's far easier to do with fiber. So yeah, with all that said, really, we're trying to, you know, we've tried to, you know, design as much as possible to, you know, abide by this ordinance, but we're kind of at a point now where, you know, it's becoming a little bit cost prohibitive. So that's why we are, you know, approaching you for this waiver. Our, you know, like it says on the screen, our exception request kind of outlines those 4 main topics. And then when it's all said and done, it would essentially look like that or very similar to that, that picture on the right-hand side of the screen. That red arrow is what most of the network is going to be built with. The rest of it's less than an inch in diameter cable. So, you know, it's very low profile when you consider it, even compared to copper. And it really just allows us to provide a better service to you, your residents, and the surrounding area. Do you have any questions about the build itself, maybe coming or Century, you know, coming from the CenturyLink Lumen days? Anything that I can help answer that might provide some clarity or, you know, expand on some of the topics that we talked about today or in that letter that I wrote earlier?
Is it just one small cable? Or is it one small cable per big one? Like, you know, when I see the small cable there, is it just one?
I'll answer that. So one fiber optic cable is going to have multiple fiber strands in it. It could be one fiber strand for it if it's like going to your home. Okay, so that's be one cable there. What's being pictures right here, this would be like an old copper cable, probably 300, 400 pair copper cable, big, heavy, ugly for it there. That fiber cable is probably, looking at that size, probably a 96 to 144. So a 288 would be slightly bigger than that. To put it in terms for everyone to understand, here's a 400 pair copper cable, it's my arm. Here's a 48 fiber.
Yeah, and so really our goal there, as you can see, we're not trying to add, you know, where it takes up, you know, a foot between each attachment and
That we used to have 3 or 4 copper cables going up. You're just gonna have the one fiber cable going there that's actually carrying more, we'll say, users or homes than 3 of the copper cables would be. Does that answer your question?
I think so, yeah.
So are you taking down the big one, the copper cable?
So we are responsible for the copper. We are the carrier of last resort, so we have to provide at this time service to your telephone company or as your telephone company to the customers. So nothing can come down at this point. Down the road, fiber is the future. I can't speak to what happens in a decade or so. Any abandoned, like equipment, the team does try to take down and go through. And if there's any discovered, I'm working with Joe pretty much all the time these days to identify and take care of that stuff. So at this time, the copper does remain up and the fiber is just added to it.
Yeah, if you could go back one slide, that build area that you see is that's our fiber upgrade area. Our serving area is much larger than that for the copper. So we still serve those more rural residents. And you can think of this as like an initial phase that we want to serve as many people as we can in that build area with fiber. So to answer your question, the copper is going to keep serving people outside of the fiber build area, and that's why we can't take it down.
But I would like to point out, like, no new poles are planned. If there is a replacement needed because of the condition that has not yet been identified, that would be the only time in which a new pole would be put up. Everything else is just using the existing infrastructure.
So we're just seeing what are those trucks called? Like cherry picker trucks or
Bucket truck, yes.
bucket trucks? Yeah,
Bucket trucks.
of course, because it has a bucket on it.
And I know that you guys have been dealing with a lot of construction. These folks are fast. This aerial, it goes up so much faster than any kind of buried, and so much faster than the work that you guys are seeing in town right now.
And what's the scope of the project? For how long will it take?
If we do nonstop, we can work at where once, and that's if everything goes right. I want to preface that if everything went exactly right, we can build an area this size in 90 days. Now, realistically, nothing ever goes completely right. So I would say it would take longer than that for it there. But the impact, one of the things I stress with an aerial build like this, the impact to residents is very minimal. The most common issues we deal with is when we have to do a little bit of tree trimming. If they've got any aerial lines and it's all overgrown, we do have to clear those up so we can put up the new cable there. It's also part of what's just supposed to be done as part of maintenance there. But otherwise, we're in front of, we'll say a homeowner's house for about 10 minutes and then we're gone. The crews are, at least. They go on there because you just keep building your way out like that. We stay on the roads wherever we can. Obviously, if there's any reason poles left to be there, but we don't normally take equipment back there. We use pole gaffs, hooks and ladders for it there. So the build of this from we'll say homeowner or resident point of view, the impact is very minimal on the aerial side there. So hopefully it would cut down on any complaints that come in.
Other jurisdictions that we have worked in have been actually happy with the process because it does identify some things that do need correcting. And the contractor will bring that to our attention and we'll get those matters taken care of. Also, we can provide to your town, however you see fit, a list of upcoming work areas so that you are aware if someone is going to be driving that truck through or if there is going to be any kind of buried work. It's not just submitting the permits. They'll do all that. The locates are going to get taken care of, but also they can provide you guys with exactly the parameters of their work expectations as they go.
We normally working for them there and says, hey, where are you going to be at for this whole week? Okay, here's we're going to be here. We're going to be building an aerial here. We're going to be doing some directional drilling over here. This is where these will be the areas that we are in. For it there, and then if there is a change, obviously we say, hey, we got to revise this street sheet. We're gonna have to move over here, untonable gas line, whatever it may be.
Now, we are excited to bring fiber to the area, not just to Fortville, but again, you guys are the launching point to surrounding communities and the rural areas, which I know is not your residents, but there's a lot of grant money that is going to be coming in the next year. And we would really like to see the fiber that we build here possibly even be extended to some of more of the rural residents so that we're trying to bridge that digital divide so that everybody has the same capabilities for, school, medicine, work, stuff like that.
I just saw on one of those slides, it said here on the initial one we got, it said 63% is going to be aerial. And I just saw it there, it said 24% for aerial. So which is it?
I think that was
Or 36, yeah, 36, that's what I saw.
Adjustment, because our price number also went up. So this is the latest and greatest number. And what you probably saw in the first round is before the area was assessed and the situation was looked at, when we learned that you had a buried like ordinance, they do go in and they try to make as many accommodations as possible, so that what is presented to you is really like, we need to do this to make it work, as opposed to this is the easiest and best way for us to do it. And that's what we try to do in the time between identifying that there is an ordinance like this on file and coming. So that's the work that you've seen happen.
So there's really no operational advantage to putting it in the air. It's just easier and less expensive, right?
Operationally, it does make things easier. You know, we already have the copper on the poles, so we can lash directly to that. But then for the future restoration, let's say if there, you know, we have some kind of outage and something needs to be replaced because we're using that as messenger. They're all what we call push lock. So, you know, it reduces the amount of splicing. It makes future work easier for us as well. And then which cuts down the amount of downtime if there is ever that outage.
It also involves a lot less digging in your residence towns and in your right of way.
Yeah, really, that's our goal there, is to keep that.
They just
9 stars, so I think it's nice that they wouldn't get it right away, you know, again.
Well, I had a couple of questions. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go
Do
ahead.
you
You're
have one?
fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So
Yep.
I had one question more for us and one question for you guys. So my first question was our ordinance about underground and buried utilities, is that I didn't have a chance to look at it. Adam, if you could maybe help everyone out here in understanding what's the point of that? Like, why do we have an ordinance to have utilities be buried rather than elsewhere?
Sure. So the ordinance was adopted by council back in 2017. And the reason that it was initially put into place, I think it was in response to small cell towers that were trying to locate in a town. But the way the ordinance was ultimately written and approved, it applies to any new telecom or power lines that are in the town. And the premise behind it was to try to reduce the unsightly nature of overhead wires in the town over time. And so what the ordinance required is that if anybody is coming into town and they're looking to do just this, is that it has to go to the Fortville Board of Works, which in our case is you all as the council, to grant an exception to the ordinance if you're wanting to do that.
Okay, thank you. And then my question for you all is, do you have any metrics on failures of the existing copper wires over the past, say, like 5 years due to trees falling, weather, sun damage, animal chewing, things like that? Because the number one failure mode for deployed defense systems, above getting blown up, above just failure due to end of life, above anything else, is animal chewing. And so that's just what makes me think of it. I know that the military tries to avoid having wires strewn places because of animal chewing. And here in Fortville, you know, in addition to animal chewing, we have lots of trees falling down all the time. So I just wonder about how have your lines fared in the past? And, you know, are you just adding to a potential, you know, failure source by making them aerial?
That information I have readily available.
Yeah, Michelle, that's a good question. I don't have that metric, but that's something we've certainly considered. So we call them squirrel chews. Yeah, the animal chews certainly happen. It's part of our, you know, business as usual operations, quite frankly. You know, that's kind of the way they go about it. We factor that in when we initially designed the system, and in other places where we're, you know, 90 or closer to 100% aerial, and, you know, and that's part of our expectation. The outages don't happen quite, you know, that much where we would have to go underground. It's something we considered, but it's not, was not deemed, I guess, problematic as you would think.
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is just there's a trade-off here, ease and cost versus reliability.
Yes,
So, but it
certainly.
sounds
Yeah,
like the,
that's a
yeah,
great
okay.
question. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we certainly looked at this from like the build, the build perspective up front, but then the future, maintenance, restoration, all that kind of operations side of things was all considered. And yeah, that was, we were comfortable with that perspective of possible squirrel shoes or down trees, like you said, down lines. Yep.
Right, and from our perspective, the unsightliness per our ordinance. Okay, so that's what we're
Yeah,
looking at.
and
All right, thank
in the
you.
unsightliness, yeah, with that slide up on the screen, that's what we tried to address here. Low, super low profile. We're not adding things that are going to be sagging all over the place. If it's built correctly, it'll be so low profile, you'll have to be like underneath the cable to see there's an additional, if there are actually two there. So yeah, we certainly try to consider that as well.
Will you be removing all the dead lines then or hanging around? I mean, I have some hanging across my property that hadn't been used for years, but they weren't supposed to go across property. Is that something you're going to adhere to too?
So as they do the walkthrough and as they do the work, they can identify issues that they can bring to our attention, the local contractors will. And also your town manager has identified and we've rectified a bunch of issues already. So we are trying to be as receptive as possible. Our local operations team is robust. They are ready to move into action. I know you guys did not have the best experience in the past, but Brightspeed is here to show that we're different. I've been on the call for about 6 months now, and it's been very quick action each time that we brought something to our local operations attention. And if you have issues, some of the times it is not our cable. People think it's telephone cable, but it might be a cable like a Cat4 cable. So there are other issues that could be, but we are always working towards getting all that stuff off the ground, out of the sky that's not used.
Yeah, we kind of split that into two buckets as well, where we have, our fiber build team who can take care of a transfer or something like that as they move past the pole. And then we have our local operations team who picks up once the build is done and continue to take care of those issues that, Michelle's worked to correct already. So we're trying to split that into two buckets and then tackle those, as fast as possible. Hopefully we've shown you that we, are putting our best foot forward there and trying to build that relationship.
Wanna let you guys know, we have no plans on leaving town after we're done. Our contractor here, they're here to put up the fiber and they'll move on. But I will be here, Brightspeed will be here, our local operations team will be here. We are your telephone company and we're not going anywhere. So if you ever need us, we'll still be here. It's not just about getting the fiber up. It's about getting the fiber up and then supporting our fiber and our telephone customers.
Since it is against the town ordinance, to put it in the air as of, the way it states right now, like if we're making a concession, I would like to get some kind of concession that from you guys that maybe you will fix the old stuff. I know you said you'll go about it case by case, but I'd like to see that a lot of the old stuff getting fixed if we're going to allow it to be in the air. Is that what you're saying that you're going to, or?
We have every intention to get anything that you let us know or shoot something my way that we can work through. Absolutely open for that conversation.
Yeah, that's a good
Work
point.
something out that we can, okay.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan, and also, based on Tanya's point about the deadlines, I mean, I have them probably a
If
lot.
we're gonna make it, I'd like to get a little bit of concession back,
What are there any thoughts about putting it underground? I mean, which seems to be where everybody's going. So have you guys not considered that, or is that coming in the future? Yeah.
If you're gonna tell me that our rates will be lower, then I'm okay with that. Kind of what I'm getting at.
Comparative analysis, yeah.
Evan, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear what the question was. My internet kind of cut out there.
Would we consider going all underground?
Maybe one day in the future for this build itself, we kind of looked at that and realized that it was going to be too expensive up front. So that would reduce our build area today. I think really, the reason other people are going underground is because they don't have things on the poles already, and they don't have those agreements with Duke or Nine Star, for example, whereas we as the pole owner, we do. And that makes for a more beneficial situation and allows us to repurpose that copper rather than building all everywhere underground. So I think to be frank, I mean, I think once we're on the poles, we'd like to stay there. We're a pole owner ourselves. We work with Duke and Nine Star to maintain those networks.
But if in other words, if you're not coming to us with a comparative analysis of choosing between A and B, then what you're asking us is for permission to deviate from our own ordinance or nothing. Is that it? Those are the options we're looking at right now.
So we would have to cut out portions of the build, and since our central office is in your downtown, that would impact the surrounding areas. The comparative analysis, we looked at fully underground or going as much underground as possible. Typically when we do a build, we're trying to be at 90% aerial, right? So we've already been through multiple phases where we tried to reduce the number of aerial as wherever possible. But yeah, to your point, I mean, we will have to look into this and maybe cut certain developments out or something like that, which is not something we really want to do. We want to serve as many people as possible. But that is why we wrote the waiver. That is why we're hoping to, use the existing infrastructure.
A lot need to be replaced, and I mean, I can think of some that.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I've been in contact with Michelle quite a bit, and we've been looking at several poles that are in one of them is right off the ground. The only thing holding it up is a tree. So we've got several poles that were in bad shape, broken wires, or only thing holding them up, some wires hanging. They've been very responsive as far as getting out and taking care of those, and I appreciate that. And then there's been several emails going back and forth with questions on lines, and again, they've been very helpful as far as trying to identify those issues. And I do have several more that we can discuss. Some old poles are there with nothing on them, pedestals with the covers off, looks like they're just abandoned. So certain things like that, if we can get those cleaned up, that'd be huge. I do know that if you're looking to go on the existing poles in the old part of town, close to where your office is, a lot of the telephone poles there have got that metal bracket on the side that's buried in the ground because the poles were not real good shape. They looked like they were, ready to rot and break off if they didn't have those on there. So if, some of those poles are going to be replaced with this project, I'm sure you'll be turning in your right-of-way permits, and we can go over that as each one of them is submitted. But I would like to make sure that we have the opportunity to look before you bury the poles or put them in, to make sure that there's no conflict that we may be, seeing, whether it be a walk or a widening or something like that, a trail, just to make sure that we can try to alleviate any conflicts with that.
And then when we do that, is it possible to label all the poles? Normally most poles have pole numbers. I know a lot of ours do not. So our guys, if somebody hits a pole, we've got to call dispatch. They call Nine Star, they call Spectrum, they call Bright House, they call and try to figure out whose pole it is. If we had who it is and a pole number, so we could contact the right people, and that would be excellent.
As we go through the building, part of what we build is we tag the poles. Then we have pole, we still tag them. That is part of our red line asset information saying attach this pole, etc. But we have to go through and tag them anyways, for that there. So yes, to answer your question, as we are building this and touching the poles, we do tag.
Good.
Okay, any more discussion up here?
But then you're gonna have to come back later if you wanna do Windstone, you're gonna have to come down Spat later on sometime. Or it's just where you're just.
They
going
can't see what you're
now
pointing at.
in the future.
So the build will be. Do you mind if I approach you?
It's already on there.
So you're going this way now, but eventually you're gonna be going this way and then out to the high school.
No, I mean, it's just the areas. Going to Ingle, most of Fortville, and up into Fishers.
So you're gonna need to run a cable all the way this way. Okay.
But to be clear, everything you're running is not overhead, correct?
36%, right?
Yeah, just mainly the old town, and then it looks
Yeah.
like everything else is
Yeah.
underground?
Yeah.
So
Is anyone here interested in more of a comparative offering of the overhead versus buried? Because if we agree to this, then we're agreeing to a variance on our ordinance. And also burying is a best practice. It's the modern way. And as I cited that, that's more aligned with failure modes that I've seen in other areas of work. So I just wanted to put it out there because right now, if we're voting on something, then it's just to approve something to happen or we don't approve a thing to happen. And I just wanted to understand if that's what it is, then what's that other option? Is just nothing happening or is it getting buried or do we want to see?
I think they stated on here too, if they can't do the aerial portion of it, then they wouldn't be able to afford to do it at all. Am I reading that right?
Would not fit in the business plan at this time.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, personally, with that small cable, I'm okay with it as long as I could get some concession to what I was talking about with as long as Joe and Brightspeed can work out the unsightly things that need to be replaced in town and make them look nicer. I also like the fact that the 36% of people that are going to get it overhead aren't going to have them digging in their front yard again like they just were. So I'm okay with it as long as I can get that concession. But that's just me.
Let's make a motion, see what happens.
Just as far as my opinion. Yeah, I understand your opinion.
Yeah, right. It sounded like we're not sure whose deadlines would get cleaned up or not. So there would be some
Yeah, I have faith in Joe being able to work it out personally, but
Yeah.
Well, keep in
I
mind,
agree.
not all the cables and poles that we see out there that look bad belong to Brightspeed.
right.
Right.
Sure, I understand that. Yeah.
I've already ran into a few.
I'm aware of that too.
I think I'll make a motion to approve the overhead lines that Brightspeed's request. As long as there's some concession to clean up old lines to work it out with Joe.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay. I don't see a reason to deviate from our ordinance for this, based on the information provided.
It's understandable.
Do we need to include that ordinance number or it's not a resolution, it's just an ordinance in it?
Yeah, I don't have a number. There's no number on there.
Okay.
Didn't we have it here in front of us or in the packet?
Yeah, there's no number on there. It doesn't have a resolution number or anything.
I think it does.
You have that in 2017, wasn't it?
It's 2017 4C.
There you go.
Yeah.
2017 4C.
Thank you.
Thank you and thanks to be partners and keeping in touch. Would you come for your
Please, yeah.
We give it that.
Thanks, Michelle. You're running.
Actually based out of.
Okay. Thanks again. Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have a special event request from Alycia Giedd, Development Manager for the Fortville Area Resource Mission Farm for Saturday, May 17th. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Alycia Giedd. This is Heather Hamilton. I'm the development manager at Farm. This is my first time ever doing anything like this, so.
You might speak up just a little bit. Nobody.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
there you go.
It's my
Welcome,
first time
welcome.
ever
Or you can
doing
pull it down to you. That's fine.
anything-
It shouldn't
Doing
be-
anything like this, so.
Yeah.
This is Heather Hamilton. She's one of our volunteers. So we want to do a 5K run / walk / scavenger hunt on May 17th next year, downtown Fortville. So the 5K, I sent you guys that map, the back of the permit. It would be the that whole area in the map there. And the scavenger hunt, we still haven't quite, we got to figure out the clues for that, where it would be in all downtown Fortville. So that's something we plan to figure out for sometime in the next couple of months, but it would be, we want to keep it on this side of the construction. Or no, not this side, but that side of the construction in downtown. Keep the area safe and keep it confined. And also incorporate the local businesses and all of that area to kind of bring people together. Kind of promote downtown Fortville and hopefully bring up a lot of business stuff and also just kind of show the beauty of downtown Fortville and incorporate the history, the scenery, kind of do some introverted and extroverted clues just to for whatever people are interested in. The 5K would be in the morning, and then we would have bounce house, a kid area kind of thing, kid zone. After that, food vendors, and then in the afternoon at 1, I believe we would start the scavenger hunt, and that would go for 3 hours. And then after that, we would do the scoring and announce the winners. We'd also have live music going throughout the day. We're working on getting local bands to just kind of have music going. The point of it is for fundraising. So, because at Farm, we're working to get a new building for our community center. And so that's going to be our start of our big fundraiser for that. So that's kind of the point of all of it. So any questions?
No road closures, right? I saw on there.
Not planning on it.
During the 5K, we're gonna need at least volunteers to block Main and Merrill. As you're coming across.
Okay.
For-
Yeah, we plan to have a lot of volunteers that's the plan, to block.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, we don't need to shut down the streets, but at least have people like stopping traffic.
Yeah.
Okay.
With water and stuff.
Yes, we'll have water stations as well, yeah.
The construction's gonna be done by then, right?
Should be, yeah.
So.
Yep.
Okay.
There's that.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
What is this? Yeah, they do. Doesn't Flat Rock have an HOA or is it a? Yeah. Any concerns with like going through the neighborhood?
For the 5K?
Uh-huh.
So far, this is the map that we were given. I guess you guys did a 5K, was it a couple of years ago? So we're just planning to use that same route.
Oh, okay. Heath was in charge of that, right? Your group did that.
Oh, are you Heath? Nice to meet you. Yeah.
How we did it, those kind of things, let her know what they say, we did it for years. There's not many people really not notice within the. But the second and third year, once people do it right, it's growing. Our walks, same map, same map that we did for the Sun Festival. And we worked out a little bit.
Okay, we're looking for a motion to approve, I guess.
I'll make a motion to approve the special event permit request for Farm for Saturday, May 17th, 2025, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looks like fun.
Okay, next up, we have
MaryBeth Hoss.
MaryBeth Hoss from BeLocal for the Visit the Ville for an extension.
Hi, thank you guys for having me back. After the great meeting about a month ago, we all met, all of the partners of Visit the Ville, who are participating currently. And we discussed, when the concert would be and the idea of making it bigger and including even more, obviously, businesses now. So we would like to, if you're not opposed to potentially close the road from 4 to 9. And the reason is because we want to have a 3-hour concert, 5:30 to 8:30. The first hour and a half will be kid focused or family focused. The second hour and a half will be Annie and Michael, who will do more covers for adults. And we really want to make sure that the street being closed for that long, it's safe, but it also encompasses everyone. So like we want to bring attention to stat, down towards that. And we don't want it to be just by AJ's. We want to make sure everybody gets as much exposure as possible.
So which road was it again?
So Main Street,
From where to where?
basically from Broadway to Stat.
Oh.
Not quite Broadway, like Studio 309 area. Where AJ's is.
Is that not what we were doing already? Were we not?
It's just longer, just longer.
The time is
The time
longer.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's gonna happen on the street? Are the businesses gonna be on the street?
So what we envision is the music at AJ's, like in the patio area, and then mostly the people will be in the street. The businesses, I would say, will be along the sidewalks. And we're trying to include as many as possible, like I said. So I envision people setting up tents and being lined in the streets. Plus, at the end towards Stat, we're looking to have like a photo opportunity there, so a big backdrop so everybody can take photos. We will have princesses, and so I was thinking we would have one at each end, again, to draw attention to both ends, and just, make it really interactive throughout the entire street.
Yeah, because the setup of the concert is going to be right there at AJ. So I mean, I would see, that's what I was talking about the last meeting is people have to stand out in this. I would think that that's about the only place that they could
Right.
stand to watch the concert.
Right, and we just want to make sure it's safe, and we want to make sure that people, can enjoy the entire street.
Did you say Amy and Michael explain?
Annie and Michael, so
Annie,
Ann
Michael,
Ann
yeah.
and Michael, yeah,
Yeah,
Annie's
kid-
gym.
yeah.
It's so much fun. And then, of course, you have their regulars that love all their cover too, so.
Well,
We were just doing 2.5 hours. I believe it was 5:30 to 7:30. We're trying to do 4 to 9.
And that's a Wednesday. It's not much going on downtown on a Wednesday.
And really the reasoning for the hour and a half before is I want to give people enough time to set up. They want to have enough time to set up and like really, go all out, make it what they want it to be. And then, tear down won't take as long.
So you're gonna close it at 4, but it's not gonna start till
5:30. 5:30.
5:30, okay.
Yes.
Are you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Anybody?
I guess the only thing is
that
that
maybe.
it impacts a little bit more the businesses
Yeah, I was
on
gonna
Main
say,
Street.
complaints that are here or anything like that?
Because the ones that already don't like
Yeah. I think,
closed, it'll be a little bit more than that. And there's other, last time we heard from Fox Garden, but there's also hair salons and places that are operating heavily at 4 PM. Like, that's the only thing that comes to my mind, but they're not involved in this and they might care, but they're not here.
And we want them to be
It's
involved.
a Wednesday night. There's not much going on a Wednesday night. And this,
People get
this would
people
probably
get their
have,
hair done Wednesday night.
Maybe they'll come hang out afterwards.
yeah.
Spend some money in Fortville.
Have you thought about picnic tables to encourage the restaurants to have to-go orders or something so people could be outside?
Yeah, we've definitely talked about that. So this next step was timing, and then from now on, it will be all promotion and really coordinating and getting as many businesses involved as possible. So that is something that I will need help with. I need a list of the businesses on Main Street so I can contact them, and tell them what's happening and hopefully get them to participate in some way.
I don't know if we even have that, do we?
Amy's probably.
I've
got-
asked for it
Andy's
before and
probably
never
got
seen it.
I will say.
Do we have a list? I'd like to have that.
I will copy you guys on any of the correspondence if you'd like me to. I don't want to bog down your email because I know how that gets, but I want you guys to be involved as much as you want to be.
That'd be good. We get enough AIM emails anyway. So.
Anybody else have anything else?
Just PS, Indy Now was here last week. Was it last week?
Yeah, no, we didn't know about it.
Sorry.
I saw it.
But it was just, we only had so many spots and it was for the first partners that signed up, but it created a lot of buzz, I think, and it'll be on Friday. So stay tuned and tune in to Indy Now. It was a lot of fun and I hope it starts to bring a lot of exposure.
What happened last week?
Indy Now, we had Indy Now film with some of the partners.
Yeah, we knew they were coming. We just didn't know when.
Okay. Again, you tell me how much information you want and I'll share as much as possible.
All of it.
You want all of it?
Help you if we don't know.
Yeah, we'd like to know what's going on in our town.
I look at us like a partner too.
Yeah.
We gave you money. So in
Mhm.
order for us to be able to support you and feel good about our decision to give you money, we should
Yeah.
know just as much as anyone else.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
Agree.
Don't you think? I mean, it's like a sponsorship. Wouldn't you invite sponsors to an event?
I mean,
Is there no
I
problem?
totally, I can do that. That's no problem at all. My only thing, and just being a little bit defensive here is that I've tried to reach out and I've walked in so many businesses and so many business owners welcomed me and so many did not. And it's been a process. So it's like, I don't know, I don't want to bother you.
We're asking for it and you could
Yeah,
probably just
yeah.
email Andy. and he
Yeah.
could just keep us apprised of
Absolutely.
everything.
Okay, I can just
Are you
copy
can
him.
email me?
Yeah, because,
I'll
well,
put him
all,
down.
all of us, I think, because we can help with that too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
we're-
thank
we,
you.
we are of the town and we in contact with probably the same people that you might not be getting as much traction with. So it would be best
Yes.
if we all know all of it.
Perfect. Love it.
I think I'll make a motion to approve the event extension, closing Main Street from Broadway to Stat from 4 PM to 9 PM.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
Opposed?
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have discussions with the DORA. Everybody get a chance to look at the DORA information. We need to give Alex some ideas so we can get it together here. Maybe we can get it voted on at our next meeting. I give you a map of something a little bit easier to read, I thought. And I'll just tell you what mine is. I'll go first. How's that? I have two different doors here. One would be including, we'd refer to it as the Main and Broadway, which runs from basically High Street over to Merrill, Stat, and then down Knoll and over to Oak Street. And I just, like I said, this is just my idea, so you can work from there. So the times on that would be January through December, Monday through Thursday, 11 AM to 11 PM. Friday through Sunday would be 8 AM to 12 AM. And that was number one. The second one would be Dora, Main, and Landmark Park, which would include the same area there, including the Landmark Park from Stat, Leland, to Stoudemire Ditch, and then back up School Street and encompass Church, and then back to Main. The reason why I put Church in there was because I have a feeling, I think if I remember right, the new owners of the library were looking at doing some kind of entertainment facility there. So that's the only reason why I put that in there. I mean, I don't know that it's necessary, but I thought I think that they're entertaining an idea like that, so I don't want to cut them out of it either. And then the Landmark Park addition to that, the number 2 would be for all the town festivals and events at Landmark Park. And that would be Monday through Sunday, 8 AM to 12 AM.
I have a question for Alex. Once we determine where this DORA is located, do we have to sign that?
After we adopt all the ordinances, so it's an ordinance that creates the DORA, then that along with the designated vendor forms and a couple of other things are uploaded to the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission's website, and then it goes through review there. So the short answer is yes, the town will sign off on the map and this is where it is. And then after the ATC makes sure that the ordinance has everything that the law requires and that it meets, meets all of the restrictions and including signage, the ATC will sign off on it, and then we'll expect that, the signs that say you're leaving the Dora area and, you can't take alcohol with you, that those are up and posted on the boundaries for the map. So
Do they have a standard verbiage for that
they do.
you have to use? Okay.
This one Jasper did looks really good. I liked it.
Yeah, and there are a lot of examples
Yeah.
out there too that you can.
I was just thinking it would be a little trickier if you were gonna have, if an area was gonna be a Dora all the time, it'd be easy to put the signs up and leave them. But then the other one where, we're gonna have a lot of verbiage on it, those signs could get pretty big, just to have certain times of the year to.
I think we have
I
to.
question, I guess, whether, would we just do it all year round rather than,
Yeah.
I mean, just to make it.
Well, that's what I did for the Main Street one. Yeah. You made Main and Broadway. The Landmark Park, I didn't know if,
might
I
take-
don't know. I had a weird feeling about having Landmark Park, a place to take your alcohol to, since
Well-
we've had problems there. It's just, I don't know.
We probably have to amend our ordinance as well, because our ordinance has no alcoholic beverages in the park without an exception from the council.
Right.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but does the Dora allow you to cooler down? And
No.
it doesn't, right?
No.
You have to purchase it from a
Correct.
licensed participant of the Dora, right?
That's right.
So it's not like somebody could just bring a cooler to the Landmark Park and, that's not what we're saying. They could go purchase a drink and then go watch their kids or something, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's right. You could. And it's no more than 2 drinks per
Right.
customer that you can
Right.
carry out. Now, this is not to be confused with the new law that went into place this July 1st that allows carry out cocktails and carry out beverages. That's something different.
Right.
Those have to be sold with the, new container, sealed, no straw holes and whatnot. That's not what this is talking about. It's, for an event that we were talking about, or a regular old Wednesday night when no one's getting their hair cut, they buy a beer and they want to walk next door and do some shopping, they can do that inside the Dora.
I think we get a list too of all the businesses, don't we have? I noticed that both
Yes.
of these had to have a specific list of businesses that want to be a part of the Dora.
Correct.
And then also they will be in control of whether they want it in their shop if they're not
Yeah.
serving it. Because that's what these signs here that I thought were pretty neat, that really pretty much spells that out.
Right. To create the Dora, you need at least one, what the law calls a designated vendor, and there's a 1-page form that the restaurant, so just for example's sake, Fox Garden decides they want to participate and be a designated vendor. They've got a portion of that form that they fill out. The town council has a portion that they would sign off on, and then that gets uploaded with the application. Then, at the onset, we find out all of the restaurants that would like to participate, and we submit forms for all of them. Down the road, if someone else comes on board or there's a new restaurant and they say, hey, we'd like to be part of the Dora, we upload an additional form for them and then they're listed. We don't have to amend the ordinance or anything like that.
So it's a fluid document, basically.
It is.
Yeah.
And someone could opt out as well.
Right.
The law doesn't contemplate that, but yeah, if someone said, hey, this isn't working for us and we don't want to do it.
Does that then put the responsibility on the business owner to sign or put a sticker on when you're picking out on alcohol?
That's right. Yes.
And where does all that come from?
Well, I think we have to provide it. Do we have to provide the stickers
Not
and
for the
stuff?
businesses. The town provides the signage for the boundaries,
But not for the business.
but not for the individual. If the individual businesses want to say, hey, no outside alcohol allowed, then that's on them.
Or the other way, if they want to participate, they have to provide the signage on there.
Or no sign it. I mean.
Oh,
just-
okay.
Just allow, I mean,
Okay.
they're part of the Dora and
And then how is it communicated to all the businesses so that everyone knows?
About the Dora. Well, you probably have to go door to door, I guess, and get everybody to know. Yeah, that's what I figured I would, I had
I've
planned on
seen-
doing.
social media is been kind of the most common in the communities that I've worked with, you know, putting, you know, events, hey, the door is gonna go in effect on X date and it's coming, and it doesn't take long for the word to spread.
So if you did that, then you'd have to have them contact us to let us know that they were, or they just do. But that doesn't provide them, put them on our list.
I have, so again, the communities that I've worked with and getting these set up, there's been someone from the town, typically somebody like Joe or Adam, that just reaches out to the individual restaurant owners and says, hey, you know, this is what we're trying to do. I've been pulled into some calls for some restaurateurs, be like, they have questions or concerns like, well, does this mean that people can walk in and address those? So
I know the VFW is interested. I've already talked to them. They went in, so.
I got a question. So if we just stop it at stat, null, and we do this one right here, later on down the road, if somebody like here, the old library or decide, can we just redraw this map or?
that would be an amendment to the ordinance. Yes, you can, but
Okay.
we would need to amend the ordinance
Okay,
and upload a new map and then have the appropriate signage.
okay.
I think I'm in favor of it all being either all the time, or I think it'd be a lot easier to enforce. I would guess that if,
Well, we can always leave the park off, and then whenever they do a special event, they can just.
I mean, that's doing an amendment every
request it.
time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Pardon me.
I mean, that's doing an amendment every time and then taking
No,
it
no,
back
no.
off. Yeah, but I don't think that's the same thing.
They're constrained.
Yeah,
with
it's
their
different.
So like if Jake was there, he had to put up some kind of stanchions or
Right.
whatever to drink within it. This allows him not to, so you have to. Yeah.
Sign.
That's right. So if you
And it's
include
confusing.
the park, then the benefit that has for big events where you have outside vendors, or Jake wants to use his food truck to have his main restaurant and then also have a presence in the park. There's a separate form, temporary vendor that you file that allows for those types of festivals. So that some of the things that Heath and I and Joe have had to deal with over the years, it's really unwieldy. Temporary permits for alcohol, because you can't, it's unwieldy to get it permitted. It's unwieldy to enforce and to control the customers not leaving where they're supposed to buy their beer or their drink and then finish it there before they move on. This opens that all up. So if the park and that space is included in Adora, then, you know, those vendors could apply, they would list where they're going to be on their application, but then someone could come up and buy a drink, an alcoholic beverage from them, and then walk and check out the rest of the event and walk down Main Street or anywhere within the Dora. So
Does that mean during an event, they'd have to have a Dora cup or wristband from all the vendors at Landmark Park?
potentially.
This sounds like,
Neither
it sounds like a
of those-
hassle to me.
Neither of those is mandatory, cups or wristbands. Some communities are doing them, some aren't.
Then what keeps me from filling up my own tumbler and walking down the street?
Nothing.
What keeps you from doing that now?
Well, nothing,
Even before.
nothing. That's why I'm like, why do we need a door?
I thought we talked about that years ago when they had the car show and the chief said it wasn't against the law for them to have a beer while
Yeah.
they're at the car show, that he just said, hey, have a little respect, put it in a cup or something, just don't
Yeah, no
hold
containers, yeah.
a container. You can, but it just doesn't look good. So, yeah, it's either way,
I think it's probably about 50-50. The communities that are having like Dora specific cups that they want all of their designated vendors to utilize, so that you can kind of tell, hey, this is a Dora cup versus not. It frankly hasn't been around long enough and for me to have heard whether that's the way to go, or communities where they don't have special cups, that it is an issue. there's always gonna be some people that are gonna take advantage of
Right.
things, so it's really tough to legislate for the perfect.
Yeah.
It may be something, Libby, with respect to the wristbands and the cups. See how it goes without that restriction, and if the chief and the business owners are gonna let you know if what's going on. And also there's a size
Well,
requirement, like, the cups can't, this would be too big for the carry out of, my 2 cocktails that I could go in and get. So some of that's restricted as well.
Let
But
me ask you, if they end up using, or if we end up using the Dora cup, that's gotta be a cocktail that somebody gets from one of our local places within the door and they walk out.
correct.
So would those cups then be provided by that business? Say, for instance, if you've got a drink, you want to walk outside, let's pour it in this cup and you're free to go. Is that kind of
Yes,
way
I
that-
think that's the way that we don't
Okay.
want, as the town, want to get in the business
No.
of providing cups. I think the simplest solution on a designated cup was they picked a color and left it to the individual business owner
Like for what
that are
kind, yeah.
participating, that they could work with their supply vendors to, purple or yellow or something. I'd say red solo cup size, probably not the best thing, but something unique. And then, they can use it as marketing as well. I've seen that where more popular for breweries, they slap a sticker on it or a little sticker, say, something like that, Taxman Brewing Company, whatever. But I would not advise the town to
No.
get in the cup business.
No, I don't want to get in the cup business.
Clear.
Patrick, you got an opinion on any of this?
I do. The hours just seem late to me. I don't think there's any restaurant bar that stays open past 11 at the latest.
I agree.
So I don't see, after 11, it should just be done unless you want people just hanging out on Main Street with their.
We don't
two
really have the
cups
event that
waiting.
lasts past 11 either.
Yeah, wait until they go home. Sergeant Archer, I'm assuming you would know the best. What time does Main Street pretty much shut down?
Yeah.
That's about 11.
On a weekend night, when's the last cars usually out of there? 10. So 11 would be feasible to say. Yeah. Right, they had their anniversary party or something like that, but I could just see people getting a couple roadies to go and then just go sit out on the curb and heckle people. as
Does
they
this
drive
make you
by.
nervous? Does this whole thing make you nervous?
It doesn't
I want
make
your
me
honest
nervous.
opinion.
I went, my last vacation, I went up to South Haven. They have a Dora in South Haven, Michigan, on their boardwalk along the river walk. And it's nice. I mean, if people wanted to grab a drink, they could go grab a drink, go check out the shops, go do what they wanted. I don't know if it was new or not, but it was pretty well enforced. I saw several people who were going to their cars to get in their coolers to get stuff that the police were actively stopping, saying you can't refill your Dora cups out of your own cooler. But it's it's a tourist town. So Fortville's not quite the tourist town South Haven, Michigan is. So, I don't have a lot of issues with it, just the time. I think working nights for a long time in my career, the later it gets.
Nothing good happens.
Right. We all know what happens as it gets later in the evening and people are drinking.
Yeah.
So I think 11 o'clock would be reasonable.
Okay.
And maybe not,
Maybe even 9 o'clock on a weeknight.
yeah, I don't want to put a lot of,
I guess if we have an event or something like that.
yeah,
that
a lot of
we-
restrictions if somebody wants to stay open later, but
Why would you stop it before business closing times? Their business is open till 10 on weeknights.
Okay.
So,
sure.
I mean,
None.
why not just tie it to whatever is the latest time a business is open?
So that's 2 a.m. for Box Garden, or
Oh.
1 a.m., or whatever. it is.
Well, it depends on the night. Yeah.
I personally, I just think this is unnecessary for our community. We're not, I don't know that it's gonna benefit our boutiques to have people drinking in their shops. I'm sure they don't like it when kids bring chocolate ice cream into their shops. So, I don't know that it's gonna really enhance the shopping. I feel like it's gonna be a hassle for our restaurants to manage. If, you know, some might allow it, some might not allow it. I don't even know if they're interested in it. And I know AJ's wants to maybe be the lead restaurant on it. That's fine, but I think I'd rather have a meeting with our restaurants that would be involved to see if they'd even want to do it before we make a decision to do it. I don't think our police would really be around to check it out. Like he was saying, you know, people are gonna go to their cars. What's gonna stop me from doing that?
I mean, people could do that now, though.
Right,
I
I
mean,
know, I
the-
mean, right now, I don't
but-
feel like it's that big of a deal, other than I
Right.
can't look at the tax man with my beer and walk to Fox and drink more. I just, I just don't think that it's like Carmel, I get, like, they've got a area that I can take my drink and watch my kids play. Okay, that's great. I mean, all we're doing is encouraging more drinking and all of that,
It
and I think
feels
we've got a
like-
lot of that already.
It's like a lot of trouble just to have fun so far. And alternatively, Libby, I liked what you said the last time we discussed this about the drinking shop, whatever that is that used to happen. Maybe a reevaluation of that could be done. That's what you brought up the other time, right?
What, the girls' night out?
Or whatever those were. I've been to those before, and you know, that kind of thing sounds like fun, just as an alternative idea to consider. If that is something that the town used to do.
And we did it, and we didn't need a Dora for it. The
Yeah.
girls still drank and they still had a great time, and it was a good event.
They walked around.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
I just think-
Because Chief said it wasn't against the law.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they were getting, I mean, I don't know where they were getting it, honestly. They were drinking and drink it.
Anyway, that
party.
sounded like fun, whatever that was. Maybe, I like your idea of maybe meeting with the business owners and or maybe re-looking into that type of activity.
I think meeting with the business owners, engaging, you know, their interest would be a good idea. I mean, you know,
Yeah, they
whether
might
we're
not.
pro or anti. it
We
doesn't
only
really
had
matter
a
at
few
this
here
point.
last week, the last meeting.
I would think that the way things are right now with people wanting people in their door and it being paramount that, you know, each person is important, I would think that maybe anything that would encourage people to still walk around and shop would be good right now, but that's just my thought, but. If maybe they buy a drink and they're like, I gotta stay here for another 15 minutes and then they go home versus maybe those 15 minutes spent in a boutique or I would think that they would encourage that, but I don't know.
I wonder if it would be beneficial to send out a survey to all the businesses that are within the proposed door area.
I think it'd be a good idea.
That way, at least we can have written
I'm
documents.
definitely open to that, because if nobody's interested in it, then what are
Might
we
be
doing?
wasting our time.
I know the VFW is interested. I've already talked to them.
Yeah. Both
Big
of them
time
are.
interested.
They probably do that already. But you didn't know that BFA back and forth.
Super customer.
But you can keep going back. and doing more.
Yeah.
You only carry 2 hours. Okay. Well, it looks like that's what we're gonna do. We'll just get with the businesses and,
Maybe Andy can put something together.
Well,
yeah. Yeah. You got, anybody got any comment? Public? Any of the business owners that are here?
Or anybody
Yeah.
else.
So the traveling foodie guide will be here on Friday. Traveling foodie guide, if you don't know him, he has a massive following on Instagram, and he's going to be doing an eating his way through Fortville situation. So here are the restaurants that he's going to go to. So if you want to encourage people to show up, that would be great. He will be starting at 11 and going to Denver's, AJ's, Dulit, Taxman, Cortona's, and Moondrops.
Cool.
And I mean, his following is just amazing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this does. Also, I wanted to introduce you to Dr. Chris Owens. He is going to be a new business owner in Fortville. He came tonight. He's great. And then Brittany, she is an influencer, lives in Fortville, and she goes by Indie Family Fun. I think it would be very beneficial for her to talk to you guys all too.
Okay. Sure. Come on up. Yeah. That's okay.
My thought was underage drinking, like buying the drink in the restaurant, taking it outside, and who knows what happens to that drink after that. My thought was maybe if they go up to the bar, show their ID, get one of those wristbands that you put on that you have to tear to take off. Just showing that they're of age so that if they're walking around with a drink, they have that on showing that they've shown their ID or something like that. I lived in Vegas and that was a massive problem. People would buy alcohol. There were kids drinking on the streets. And there was really no way of that for them to actually like manage that very well. So just my input. It's a good point.
Sure. Good
Thank you.
idea. Yep. Thank you.
Anybody else comments about the DORA?
We used to.
We're not getting caught.
No, we, right, we know. So, yeah, years ago, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, Hancock County started an underage drinking task force, which officers go out on Friday and Saturday nights. They respond to large parties, large get-togethers. We don't have, and we haven't had a lot of underage parties for quite some time. Underage drinking, we had one this weekend. They were driving through and stopped and argued in the middle of the street and ended up getting locked up. But I don't know of many reports that I've seen that says that people are out there drinking underage. And I'm assuming if they do, they're not going to do it in the middle of Fortville. They're going to go to a local cornfield somewhere. So.
Well, there's not many places for kids to hang out now, so it doesn't happen. But when I was young, there was, and that's what we did.
I think right now.
In the 70s and the 80s, that's, yeah.
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 A lot of our kids, I think, go up to the Fishers area or towards New Pal. They tend to have a few more parties down by New Pal and up by Fishers than what we have in our community.
So one thing I'll add really quickly, just from personal experience being up in Michigan where they have a similar setup, is it is kind of weird in that there's in the one community I was in, there was like a random blue line on the sidewalk. And they said, you can't cross over this line because you're outside the district. And trust me, as you know, I deal in regulation every day. And there's a part of me that thought, what's so special about this blue line? It's not like there were police or bouncers or why can't I cross over this line? So my point is, I don't know, again, just speaking from personal experience, how I don't know if people will take the boundary seriously unless there's good enforcement.
Yeah, law-abiding citizens are going to be law-abiding citizens, and the ones that aren't.
Exactly.
They're called criminals for a reason, right?
Yep.
By definition.
That's what it boils down to.
Anybody else on the DORA? Okay. All right, so I guess Andy will get a letter together for us. We'll check them out and come back with something else. Let's see. Next is the resolution number 2024-8A concerning the lease of the property through the alternate procedures provided by Indiana Code 36-1-11-12. That's,
You want me to cover it?
yes.
So as the title that you read would suggest, this resolution is part of the process that the statute requires in order to kind of expedite getting out requests for proposals to lease the community gym. We've had discussions about the Indy Sharks, their interest in renting the gym, but because it's publicly owned property, before you can lease that, you need to put out a fair opportunity for other folks to express their interest. We've published that request for RFPs, but you have to adopt this resolution saying that alternate procedures are appropriate. The regular procedure would require two different property appraisers to come out and do an appraiser on what the rental lease value of that space for these types of use. I've been through it before. It gets very complicated. And it's also difficult to find appraisers that would actually do an appraisal of that sort. So That's why the law allows this alternate procedure, because of the unique nature of the gym and what we're looking to potentially allow a tenant to do in the space. The alternate procedure makes sense, and that's what this resolution allows you to do.
Okay. Looking for a motion.
Anybody have any questions?
I got
Up here,
one.
town council questions?
I got one real quick. Just as we're putting this together, I know it's not in this resolution, and I know Heath has already talked with the folks that's interested in the building. When we do go out for the RFPs and put something together, we've already got some people that have paid a deposit to use that space. And I'd like to be able to honor that space, since they've already paid. And then going forward, if we know it's not going to be available, then we no longer, reserve it for somebody. But I know there's a couple of events and people have got it reserved.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think that we should and probably legally have to honor that. And that's something that if we get proposals, presumption is we'll get at least one and it's acceptable to council and you agree, we can work that into the terms of the lease, the ultimate lease agreement, that any existing bookings would be honored and move forward. So
Are there some? I didn't think there was
I think
any.
there's maybe three, something like that.
Really?
Two, three, four.
When?
I don't have it in front of me.
Huh.
I know that there are, one family that's got a deployment party that they're having for somebody that's going to be deployed, and I'd hate to yank it out from underneath them.
Come on up, Heath.
Absolutely.
Ethan, Parks Manager. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'll have to double check. Everything that was booked other than the Champions Force cheer, which I've already had a conversation with about, would happen before this would take place.
Okay.
There shouldn't have been anything booked because I told the ladies not to book anything moving forward until we found out what was going on, because I didn't want that to happen. So I think the last booking is maybe the last week in September-ish, sometime around there.
As long as we can double check to make sure.
Yeah, I'll double check, but I know there's somebody in there this weekend. And I think maybe next Saturday as well. And then outside of that, it was Tuesday evenings with the champion, I believe it's Champion Force cheer. And I've talked to them as well as the potential leasing about figuring out something that they would be able to utilize some space and not get bumped out while they tried to find another space and or work something out with them to be able to come in and use that for a couple hours, because they're only there one day a week for like 3 hours. So it's definitely something we can have that conversation about, but. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Heath.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-88.
Hold on for a second.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
I was trying to follow this, and I don't know what building we're talking about leasing out and for who to who and how long.
Community center.
What?
The
The
community
community center. Mhm.
Okay, it's just for one day a week. He just said.
No,
That's
it's,
what I'm trying to figure
it's 7 days a week, isn't it? Full time, yeah. Yeah,
just the gym.
Just the gym.
yeah, just the gym.
Didn't we have a softball team that practiced down there several years ago, and there was where it was a lot of damage in there from hitting the ball, knocking lights out, things like this.
Yes, yes.
Okay, well, just like you said, you gotta figure it out, but they ought to be held, make sure they're responsible for any damage they have to.
It'll be in the
It'll be in the
contract.
contract.
Yeah, it'll be in the contract, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I know we did have light damage from.
Go ahead and tell them what they're gonna be renting it for. Maybe that'll help them too.
Well,
What was
he
it?
just.
It's like $60,000 or something like that.
Oh,
Oh, you mean the amount?
The amount.
Actually, if
Yeah.
you're going out for RFP, you shouldn't probably.
Yeah.
travel
It
baseball team.
incurs.
The travel baseball team. No, just kids. Youth organization, baseball team. A lot of Fortville kids too.
And what was that rental a month that they're
I,
gonna be?
I would, Fritz, I would probably recommend we don't bring that up if we're gonna go out for RFPs. And
Okay,
then, so
I'm sorry, I thought we already talked about that.
even if we
Two
did, I
times
don't know
ago.
that we want to
Okay.
continue.
Kind of back.
Well, I got a little
Backtrack
bit
a
more
little bit here.
information out of it and I feel a little bit more comfortable with what's going on now. 'Cause
Right.
It was just, these guys are gonna rent and that's what they're gonna rent and we know what they're gonna rent, but I don't think the public. knows.
Yeah, we had a couple meetings ago. They come up and it should be on there.
Okay.
Anybody else? I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-8A.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We need everybody's John Hancock on. Okay, there's no old business. Joe, do you have anything for us?
Not really, other than the fact, just let you know that, the buyer's estate, the subdivision has finally broke ground. They're starting to move forward. So they got everything staked and they're moving dirt. So pretty excited about getting that one off the ground. It's been in the works for a long time. And, with this INDOT project and the trail, I think it's gonna be, kind of exciting next couple of weeks to start seeing that asphalt go down. Trails, traffic lights coming up. I think here in the next couple of months, we're gonna see some fast progress. Looking forward to that. That's all I've got, unless you got anything for me.
Anything for Joe? Okay. Adam, do you have anything for us?
Nothing for me tonight unless you have any questions or comments on anything.
Keith?
I pass. I don't,
Okay.
I don't have anything tonight.
Thanks. Thanks, appreciate it. Patrick?
Just two things. We had our IDAX audit for IDAX NCIC. We were in complete compliance. I have the summary report here if anybody wants to go through that and needs any reading material. And then the vehicles we bid on last year and ordered have finally arrived. So, October to August, not a bad turnaround time, I guess. So we'll be picking those up here pretty soon. Other than that, if you have questions, I'm open.
Questions? Anybody got questions? Nope.
Stay in there.
Actually, I do have one more thing if we could go back.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
And just real quick, and Alex, I don't know if I need to have a VIN numbers or anything, but the old 2005 Ford truck that Jerry, our building inspector's been driving, transmissions out of it. We've decided not to repair it. So if we could declare that surplus, maybe we could go out to bid on it and get rid of it. Free up some space.
I got one more thing too. We had one of our old Explorers, I think it was a 13, the engine blew and we're not gonna replace it. It's been blown for quite some time now. But we need to declare that surplus also to do what Joe's doing with his. Cause honestly, to put an engine in it, they wanted like $9,800 and it's not worth that Kelly Blue Book, so.
How many cars do we have in service right now? How many vehicles?
That including the ones that are leased, the town leases from the two reserves who bought their own cars? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Or the ones that the towns purchased? and
I'd say
bought?
the ones that purchased and bought.
Okay. 13, 15. Plus the surplus, 16. 16. That's two spares in the back, the one with the blown engine in the back, and then all the full-time officers' cars, and then the part-time officers' car.
Thanks for that.
Chief Bratton, I had a question. You said last time you're gonna be looking at getting drones, right? At some point?
Looking at grants for drones currently.
Okay.
If we
so
can
at
get
some
it,
point.
if we can get a grant that will pay for it, because they're quite expensive.
Okay.
But we're actively searching for any grants that we can find to alleviate some taxpayer cost.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm gonna put together information about, like Chinese drone companies and I'll send it over. I was just thinking about a timeline, but it sounds like it's pretty open still.
Yeah.
Okay,
It'll probably be into next year. Even if we apply now for a grant, most of them won't get awarded till January 1. And then by the time we do the research and figure out what we need and then get our Part 107 pilot's license for them and do all that before we even pick it up, we're probably early next year, mid next year.
are the grants company specific or are they like state or?
They're
federal?
generally just federal grants and needs of individual departments. A lot of the recent ones are going towards higher crime areas, gang areas, and a lot of growth areas, which I'm hoping we can fall into that category to maybe pick up some grant funding.
Okay, thank you.
Missy's not here. Alex, do you have anything else for us?
I don't.
Any questions for Alex? Any more public comment? Town council comments. Miss Libby?
I wanted to see if anyone had interest in exploring areas in town that we could put posts to hold banners for, say, Fortville Action has their concert series that could be placed at different entrances into town, or for like BeLocal's event or Summerfest. It would be a standard, just be like a couple posts. It doesn't even have to be, Joe and I have talked about this. Doesn't have to be super pretty, but something that we could say this size banner fits on. They could design it, hang it up. It could be two-sided. It could have two different events on it. But I feel like we have great events in our town. We are only reaching the people that live within a 10-block radius of the park, or the only people that walk or maybe work on Main Street, because we put the A-frames out on the street. And I just thought that if we had some interest, we could figure out some pricing, and maybe even somebody like me, I would donate to have these things built.
We get the RDC, we could probably get the RDC to pay for it. It's in the tipped area.
It's not advertising though. It's promoting tourism and bringing people into the
Okay.
TIF district.
Okay.
I'm not saying. Yeah, and I'm not even saying put it across the road, but just.
I think it
if we
needs to be
have
out
it
on
in
Broadway though.
different-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere on Broadway. I think the sign that the realtor puts up there works really well for everybody.
Yeah, everybody likes
Yeah.
what they put.
Yeah. it'd be-
Well, that being said, it probably have to be on private property with them. Going to INDOT and getting a permit to put those poles permanently in the.
Yeah.
We'd have to get a permit.
If it was in the state right of way, definitely.
Okay.
But if somebody along that corridor
Has
has got some space that we could put it, then we get outside the right of way. And then, not to change the subject, but did we get a vote on the surplus on the vehicle?
No, we didn't.
I don't think we voted on
We
it.
did.
So before.
Sorry.
No.
So that's two vehicles we need to do surplus on.
Right, declare them surplus.
I'll make a motion to do the surplus for the 2013 Explorer and the 2005 Ford truck.
Thank you.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? There's your surplus, Joe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then I just have one more thing to see if we have any interest in. I've always thought that, I mean, we're just a little town, but do we want to look at branding at all for our town? Like to have a town flag or town colors or town logo or anything like that? Just wondering if there was an interest. I'm not saying we have to go do it.
I'm sure there's a lot of interest. I mean, yeah.
I think a town flag would be real cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Flags.
yeah.
McCordsville just did, I was at an event there and they just did a branding. You've seen it, but they've got logos that they can wear on their shirts.
I think.
They redid their police vehicles.
They're barely a town, so.
Marketing. Mhm. Mhm.
Everything that we should, I mean, I don't know. You guys look like it, I don't know what it is, but.
Takes a lot of money. Yeah.
Well, Beth said we just need to let her know. Now for next year, the following year, when she writes the budget, she'll try to wiggle to see what we can do. But this year it's kind of,
Most of them
I
don't.
think she said towns our size.
Yeah,
I
towns
think
are
is what she
size do
said.
not, but big towns, Zionsville and all those, they do. They do commercials. And like I said, though, a lot of that comes from the chamber. It doesn't come from the town body itself. But we don't have that anymore. So, I mean, I don't, if you were here for the budget meeting, you see how little money we have to operate off of. It's not very much. My business is in Indianapolis and nobody does that for me. So, I mean, I'm in a big city and we don't get marketed.
No, I'm not talking about marketing like your business.
no, we're talking about marketing the
Town
town.
event.
Understand that. I'm,
Indianapolis has a brand.
Yeah,
The logo.
they
Yeah.
market.
yeah.
Yeah, I like the flag idea.
I don't know. Up the cost and
Great idea.
we'd have to figure out, I don't know how you go about coming up with a brand
You got to go
other
to,
than hiring
Or you could ask the public for,
you have to hire a marketing person to do that.
suggesting and you could probably get it pretty free doing that.
That's what I was gonna say.
There's probably talented people that live in Fortville that could design something and they would probably do it for free.
I mean, there probably are people around town who know how to use Sketch or Figma. You know,
For a small fee.
They
Even
might
a
even,
contest,
might even donate it. I mean, living in town,
contest.
or a contest, right?
All right, I'm done. That was all.
Who wants to do it?
I don't have anything. Andy does.
Andy does. Andy, you want to do that?
Branding, the branding.
I volunteer
campaign.
Andy to do that.
This is what you get
He
when you
does, he
come to
does
our
a lot
meeting.
anyway.
I don't
Yeah.
have anything
I
to.
don't think.
nor do I.
Brits?
You got any public comment?
No,
Or,
I don't have any
council
comment.
comment?
Thank you.
Okay. I need a motion to approve and sign
I'll
vouchers.
make a motion to approve and sign vouchers.
My second.
Favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Make a motion to adjourn at 8:06.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed? Thanks for coming.